Much like Ray Parker Jr. and the 4 Ghostbusters, busting makes me feel good.
Oh, boy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show for a very old movie, so you have been warned.
They're like 37 years old.
It felt.
Yeah.
It felt that. So on today's episode, in preparation for the new Ghostbusters Afterlife, we are going to watch the original 2 and potentially the 2016 version. I wasn't originally going to include that, but we might throw it in there if we have time.
Also, buckle up because we have opinions.
Sure.
On the 2016 one.
Oh, yeah, we like it.
I have more opinions than that.
Ghostbusters!
Got your stick? Hold! Hit him up! Smoke him! Make him hard! Ready!
Ghostbusters, starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis. Coming to save the world. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters.
My history with this was I saw it when I was very young. It scared me to the point where I made myself physically ill. Like I had a fever.
But was it the dogs or the Marshmallow Man?
So what I remember is the pink slime from the second one.
Okay. Because it's in a bathtub, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I remember that. Yes, I remember that.
My brain
couldn't comprehend.
Short-circuited.
Yeah, okay.
But I conflated it all together, so I don't know if I saw both of them or half of one, or this was sort of like very much in the cultural zeitgeist when we were younger. And it was, I mean, I don't know that it was an omnipresence, but there was the animated show. And I remember loving the animated show.
It felt a little like an omnipresence, but I was a girl.
Well, because I was going to say I loved the toys because as I recall, and I'm choosing to stand by this, they were god tier toys.
Were they?
It was a 3-story firefighter. It was the closest I got to a dollhouse at that point. And that's pretty cool. There was a grate that you could drop slime through. And so apparently I just was constantly sliming Janine. That's all I did. And the Janine action figure, you like pressed a button on her back and her hair would go, ah!
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So I loved it. We've talked about this before, but I used to watch Movie Magic on Discovery Channel. Yeah. And they talked about Stay Puffed. And for the longest time, I called him the State Puff Marshmallow Man. But I also can't say marshmallow. So
it's marshmallow.
I say marshmallow. You always said it's mallow.
Well, I would never tell you to pronounce it mallow. Okay. It technically is spelled. It's marshmallow is how it's spelled.
Yeah, I say marshmallow.
It's a marshmallow.
Okay.
Everyone says it that way.
Okay.
You're fine on that. I've got other words to pick bones with you about. Marshmallow's fine.
Like I said, I made myself physically, like I had a fever. I was so scared.
I thought you meant ill, like throwing up.
No, I mean, there's a good chance I was getting sick already, but the two, like my mother was like,
uh-oh.
And so for a long time, I had just negative feelings towards it. And so I never really watched it.
I saw this movie and the second one, I want to say one time, and I want to say it was like 25 years ago, and then never again. And I'm just fine.
And I was like 6. I'm not talking about 10 or 11 or 12. Like I was like young.
Yeah, I mean, I might have been younger than 10, but it was like I have memories of watching these movies. And then I also have memories of never watching these movies again. So
I just like, it's so funny because sitting down to watch it this time, it was pinging. Like some of it was very visceral to me. I remembered the library ghost.
Yeah.
And which if you ask me, is still scary.
It's scary.
I think it was when I was an age where it was like, I was only grasping the concept of adult entertainment.
Sure.
And so there was a part of me that was like, I shouldn't be watching this. This is for adults. Even at 36,
sure.
I was sort of like, oh, wow. And it's relatively tame.
Yeah. The rest of it's super tame. There's like a decent amount of innuendo and like a tiny bit of language, but it's pretty tame.
So I watched it twice. I watched it last night because I had to. And I didn't hate it, but I felt very nothing about it. I was also building my Elsa castle. Stay tuned.
Yeah, she'll be here soon.
And so it's just sort of like, and then we watched it again this afternoon, and I've complimented you on this many times, but you are a very good person to watch things with. You are very game, and you're usually very enthusiastic and just sort of like on board with what you're given.
I like to laugh at stuff.
And Will kind of kept hovering in and out. And so I will say,
this is one of my husband's favorite movies.
I will say that if you're watching something especially from a specific time period, that is, well regarded with a heaping serving of nostalgia, I think it's best to watch it with people who like it. He was laughing at jokes, and everything he laughed at, I heard. Yeah. But I just was like, they were like observations to me last night, and now I was like, oh, that's a joke. I like when he turned on the like photon blasters, I don't know the words. Yeah. And the other two kind of jumped back a little bit. I was like, last night I was like, what, have they never done this before?
It's just occurred to me, we really haven't had a completely successful test of this equipment.
No, they haven't. That's the point.
And then when Will laughed, I was like, oh, okay.
I think you're right. It is, especially if you're watching something that you don't really have an affinity for, but you know someone else who has an affinity for it, it's better to watch it with them because they're going to enjoy it more, and that's going to increase your enjoyment.
Unless it's something that you are strongly against,
sure,
because it'll just make you hate them.
Yes, fair.
But in a general sense, yeah,
that's fair.
So I did prefer watching it with you and him.
Sometimes Will
in the background. The biggest thing for me is I have no taste for Bill Murray. He does nothing for me in the kindest words.
I love Bill Murray.
That was very...
There's something about him, and I think it's because I have been watching movies with Bill Murray since I can remember. And one of my favorite Bill Murray movies is Groundhog Day, which, as I found out, is actually 9 years after this, which I had no idea. I don't know what it is. I find him so appealing, and I love his sarcasm in roles like this.
It was there for me more watching it with you.
Okay.
Last night, he was just pinging dick to me.
Well, sure. He is a dick in this.
No, but
100%.
It was... I understood the charm in it watching it with you.
Okay.
Where last night, I was like, why is she tolerating this, like, douchebag?
Because he's charming. He's, like, doing it in a... He's being, like, a dick kind of alpha male in, like, a charming, affable beta male type of way. In a way that makes him actually non-threatening.
But I thought I was taking it all like at face value last night.
Oh no, he's joking. I was like,
he's doing bits with her. When he was like, I love you, can't you? I was like,
no, yeah, he's doing it. He's joking.
I understood that the second time watching it.
And so I like, especially, I mean, there's Bill Murray movies I've never seen. Most of like a lot of 90s stuff, though I've seen like Stripes and What About Bob and stuff like that. But I especially like this like late career, like since the year 2000, Bill Murray. I love him as like, it's so weird because he's not that kind of guy. He's like not a hot guy. He's like he's from Illinois, and you can tell.
They know how to grow them in the Midwest. That's really all I'm saying.
They really do. But that's the thing is like, it's like my Steve Buscemi thing where I don't think he's attractive.
I get that way more.
But I find him sexy.
Especially young Steve Buscemi.
Sure. Like firefighter Steve Buscemi.
Climb on top of that.
No, I don't know. There's something to me very appealing about his comedy and about the way he presents himself. And I think the biggest thing is that he seems to have a level of confidence that's very intriguing because he just feels very in his body and he feels good about it. And I think my favorite thing, I think we've talked about it before on a Bill Murray centric thing. My favorite thing about him in the whole world, twofold. One is he co-owns the minor league baseball team in Charleston, South Carolina. They're called the River Dogs, and he just goes to games often. It's funny. And my second favorite thing is that he doesn't have an agent or managers or anything. He has a phone number with an answering machine, and if you want Bill Murray to be in your movie, you find the number to that phone and you call it and leave him a message, and if he feels like it, he'll call you back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand having balls that big. I just think it's amazing. I love him. I love Bill Murray. We should do Groundhog Day. I think you'd actually like it.
Okay. I mean, I guess we don't have a leap year coming up, do we?
It's not a leap year.
It's Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day happens every year.
I remembered it was a holiday.
February 2nd.
It's the February that threw me. So another thing that it was sort of baffling me last night and less so this afternoon was I like didn't understand what their whole deal was I was like, so do they like buy into this or not?
Oh,
because they're like scientists.
Yeah.
And he's doing that study in the beginning with the girl, but he's just like hitting on the girl. And I was like, which believe me, I understand men be hitting on women. But I was sort of like, but what about your study? Don't you like, are you actually doing this? Or is this some weird long con where watching it the second time, I don't know, I wasn't caught up in it.
So I think also to actually try to answer that question, I think what's funny is when he's having that conversation with Dan Aykroyd later, and Dan Aykroyd is like, I've been in because they're getting like fired from the school, and so they can't have like the resources anymore. And Dan Aykroyd is like, I've been in the private sector. You've been in college your whole life. And so I think Bill Murray, Peter Venkman, I think he basically is just like, it's like he got a job at the college so he could keep going to college.
I get that. But he does have a passion for this pseudoscience. Yeah. So that I was a little kind of thrown by it. But that ended up being one of the charms of the movie is I do sort of like how and I don't know if this is a word, but I keep using it. So whatever. I like how plussed they are about the ghosts. With all of the ghosts they encounter, they have a sort of like, that it's sort of like do you want this or not? Yeah. And like the whole movie treats it sort of that way. Yeah. Like this is like certainly not local. It's not national news, but it's like, I mean, they say the Eastern Seaboard. Like they're talking about busting ghosts. The effects in this are interesting. I'm not one of these people who's like precious about like old effects and stuff. I actually think a lot of this is great. The only thing that I really kind of hated was the hellhounds. Yeah. It was real chintzy. The like couple of apparitions I think looked fantastic. Yeah. And I love the sort of like glow they have, which is something that the 2016 version captured very well as well. Yeah. Like I think the laser beams look good. I think Stay Puft looked good. Yeah. Although you can see like the seams in his suit and like his booties, which is I think unforgivable. But in a world where they're painting like individual like bricks on these models, but they can't like hide the seams in his like the zipper in his suit. It's like, I mean, the plot is that they bust ghosts and
it feels good.
It's just, it is sort of weirder for me. This is that phenomenon where it's like you go back and watch something that's sort of like revered. Yeah. And there's a part of you that's like, I can't believe this is it. Yeah. Like this has captured a generation. Yeah. And I don't mean that as like backhanded as maybe I do. I don't know.
I also don't understand why this is so much what it is, where I'm just sort of like, I mean, I guess like it's funny, but it's not like super like zippy or funny. Or
so
like,
I glanced at the Rotten Tomatoes and I didn't write down, I meant to too. I didn't write down the reviewer who said it, but even the review was like, it's primitive in its plotting. Sure. In a way that like older movies you could kind of get away with. I think we're in a very sophisticated place with storytelling and audiences. I think to a large extent. I mean, in a world of like binge watching, and I mean, a Korean high concept Korean show is the #1 show in the world at the moment. So it's like
it's so good.
I think we're very sophisticated at this point. So there's frequently going to be that aspect when you're watching an older
and
movie.
That's, I think, is still not to say it's bad. It is plotted. It's a beginning, middle, and end, and it works. And they like the stuff at the end, or stuff from the beginning pays off at the end.
Well, in that regard, it is good for younger people, I suppose. I did find out the little bit of reading I was doing. Apparently, there is extensive amounts of like cut material from this movie.
They ad-libbed everything.
But I mean, like they filmed entire scenes that were cut and that were then used in the montage. And I want to know what those scenes were. Sure. But I don't know like I would need to see them before I decide if I think they needed to be there or not. But there was a slightness to the bustin'. That I sort of was like, I think I might have wanted one or two of those scenes in.
I also think it's a little short-sighted that they basically do one job correctly and in the process destroy an entire hotel ballroom and then are inundated with work. It's a little dicey.
So I want to know what the deleted scenes were. The thing for me, we started talking about Bill Murray. I was distracted by the Dan Aykroyd of it all.
Baffling to me.
Did not know that he was kind of a piece.
For 1984, I guess he was kind of a piece.
In the way that, like...
Do you know what I forgot is how handsome Ernie Hudson is?
So I was going to be like...
So handsome.
I knew your Bill Murray thing.
Yeah.
And I was going to be ranking them. And I had Ernie Hudson as second.
Oh, for me, Ernie Hudson is number one for handsomeness.
I don't know. Dan Aykroyd, he has that like...
He's like a nice dad.
Again, but I think that you're thinking of him with what you know of him now. Like
I can't divorce those things from one another. Also, My Girl is the first thing I ever saw him in. Mm-hmm. He's a dad in that.
He has that sort of like unassuming like stealth hot dude thing that a lot of SNL guys do when they're like 34 years old.
Okay.
Like a Jason Sudeikis, like a Will Forte, like a, you know what I mean? Okay.
I understand. I understand now.
Like if I were of the age then, it's like him and Chevy Chase would be at the top of my list. You know what I mean?
80s, 70s and 80s Chevy Chase is something else.
And so I was very like, oh,
yeah.
Bye. And there is the ghost, because the ghost blowjob is one of the like scenes. And I actually kind of weirdly remember that scene. And I think it's because she's pretty. And I remember understanding it was an adult joke.
Yeah.
But watching it this time, I was like, that ghost is blowing him.
Oh my.
And I was sort of like, it begs more questions than it answers.
How is all of this working?
I also remember being very confused by the Ghostbusters in general, because I knew there was 4 of them.
Yeah.
But I had 5 people in mind, and at any given moment I didn't know which was the 4th. Like I was like, well, Rick Moranis, I didn't realize he wasn't a Ghostbuster,
right? Yeah.
And so I just remember seeing pictures and I was like, well, where's Rick Moranis, or where's Harold Ramis, or like where, because also so frequently you only see 3 of them at a time in stills, and I remember being very perplexed.
So part of the thing is that Ernie Hudson,
yeah,
he replaced Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy dropped out of this when he got Beverly Hills Cop. But once Eddie Murphy was gone, the studio was like, cut the role way down. And so like when Ernie Hudson first got the script, it was the Eddie Murphy script. And so he basically has said that he's like, I love that movie. I love that Harold Ramis cast me, or like Ivan Reitman or whoever. I love that I'm in the movie and it's so great and I love all those guys, but also it's like a love-hate thing because it was not the role I thought I was going to do.
Okay, so in interest of clarity, who was the one that you said you think is the hot one?
Ernie Hudson.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, Harold Ramis, I got their names confused.
Yeah, no. Harold Ramis is there the whole time. He's Dr. Egon.
Yeah. Ernie Hudson. Yeah. I meant Ernie Hudson was the one I had this second.
Yeah.
We were on the same page.
Winston.
There's also a Sigourney Weaver in this. I think she looks fine in the movie, like as a human. But
well, she's just a pretty lady all the time.
She's a handsome woman, I think. But
that's such a good face.
When she is possessed
by Zool,
so hot.
Yeah.
And for my money, holds up.
Oh yeah.
The color is extremely dynamic,
like,
and
rusty red orange,
somehow flattering.
Yeah.
And even the 80s hair and makeup really works for the possession. And it's the moments like that where I really got the humor even last night, and I wish either there was more of it or maybe I was tuned more into it. Because the one time that I did sort of laugh out loud was are you the gate or the key maker?
Key master.
The key master. And he's like, no. And just the way she's like.
And she slams the door.
Because it makes you wonder how many people have already
knocked on her door.
And the fact that she doesn't retain any of it. Then a second later, are you the key master? And he's like, yes. Yep. It's the eye roll.
Yeah.
She could have just shut the door and been like, oh, but it's just the like.
This again?
That part took me out. Also, I thought Gozer was fascinating and a very strange choice. I want to know more about her. They kind of made a comment that was just a form she took. or it took.
Girl. It's Gozer. I thought Gozer was a man. It's whatever it wants to be.
I was there for all of it. I was very Michelle Visage, like.
Her name is Slavica Jovan.
Yeah, it is. She was great. Considering that it is sort of like a rascally male comedy, I do appreciate the female presences.
Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver specifically.
And then to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
Slovaka. What did you say her name?
Well, Gozer. Slavica.
Annie Potts.
Oh, man.
I wonder if it was written that way or if she just did that.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
Probably a little bit of both. I think that I think everybody improv'd on this movie. I don't think it was just the SNL guys. I think it was everybody.
Very inspired, I think. And pretty patented Annie Potts.
Love her.
Though not a one-trick pony, but if you haven't watched.
I don't know where you put it.
GTV. And she was in love with Egon.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. I don't know. It was very slight.
Yeah.
But I was, it's fine. A gentle thumbs up.
Yeah. I'm glad I watched it again. Now I can wait another 25 years before I do.
I just we're not doing this on purpose, but as I was watching that, I was like, I wasn't expecting this to make me like the 2016 version more, which apparently is a very hot take.
Yeah.
But it also, I found it interesting, since we will most likely hopefully get into it. I find it interesting how much of the DNA from this one is in that one.
There's things
without
lifted straight out.
But like thematically or like conceptually, but without being a remake.
Yeah. It was more of a reboot than a remake.
Yeah, but it's like the scene with Rick Moranis and the people
trying to get in the window.
Yeah, trying to get in the window with the people dining. And it's like, it's not a one-to-one comparison where it's not like Kristen Wiig is very clearly Bill Murray. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like they put a map over it.
Yeah.
But it was like, on more occasions than I realized, I was like, oh man, yeah, this bit is in the new one.
Yeah.
I also didn't remember or didn't realize that Slimer was such a non-entity, because he's like huge in the cartoon.
And the merch and the high C and everything. Me too. He's in the one scene at the beginning, and then he like flies through the city at the end, and that's it.
It's like, and I also never realized that he was such a like rubber puppet.
Yeah.
Because he's glowy. And so, yeah, I don't know. Is he in the second one?
I don't remember.
I think he's in the second one, maybe more.
Maybe.
Especially if I'm going to choose to believe that. Oh, a sky beam. Well before that was.
Yeah.
Well before that was an overdone trope.
Yeah.
I did write Mother Puss Bucket.
Ew.
He says it.
Ew. I said what I said.
Oh, yeah. I hated Dana being taken by the hands in her furniture.
Oh, yeah. That was bad.
I was like, oh, I hate this.
That was the rapiest part.
I was like, this is horrible. Yeah. So, like I said, a gentle thumbs up.
Fine. I'm happy for everybody who loves this movie.
Actually, to wind down, I wanted to say that I do love the song. I love how iconic it is. I think that's where, because we are indoctrinated in it. It is Halloween. Every Halloween we have it. I can't hear it or sing it or think about it without imagining Homer Simpson going. You see that one, right?
Yeah. Of course.
So, yeah, okay.
Well, you could follow us on Twitter @soimwatching or Instagram @soimwatchingthisshow. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything. We have a Patreon. If you would like to throw us a couple bucks, patreon.com/soimwatching. We also have a Venmo, a Cashapp, and a coffee. They are all @ or $soimwatching. Other than that, just like and subscribe. And that's it for us. Bye.
I didn't say anything in the previous episode, but I did bring out Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio, because it was the Ghostbusteriest. accent.
Yeah, we don't really have any ghosty stuff.
Well, I mean, we have like horror.
Yeah,
like,
but that's not the same. This movie is
like
rated PG.
Hello, everybody. I am Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite YouTube pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. And as always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. On this episode, we are following up from our previous episode where we are prepping for the new Ghostbusters movie by watching the Ghostbusters Movies.
So good.
Who you gonna call?
Ghostbusters! Bill Murray.
Don't put any of those old cheap moves on me.
I have all new cheap moves.
Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, and Ernie Hudson in an Ivan Reitman film.
We're the best! We're the beautiful! We're the only Ghostbusters!
Ghostbusters 2.
This is the one that scared me. This is the one that I saw, and I was familiar with some of the beats of the first one, but there were a handful of moments. Pink slime should not be that viscerally scary.
It's spooky. It's really spooky.
Is it? Yeah. Is it just my trauma? My childhood trauma?
Well, if it is, then we have the same
trauma.
So, yeah.
I feel like this is taboo, but I like this one better.
I think it's punchier. And I think it's a little bit funnier. And it's that thing we like where it's like now the characters know each other.
It's paying off on the established work. So the first one, there was a bit more of like we had to introduce the characters in the world and then the plot.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is entirely the plot that works both for and against it.
Yeah.
Because it does get a little thin. It's only about 10 minutes longer than the first one, and it feels...
Not even, I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, it feels longer. I think a couple of the story beats of the first one are better. For instance, I think Dana's better. There's less, my baby's on that train!
Yeah, there's a real 3 Men and a Baby vibe to this movie, which is weirdly placed within all of the supernatural ghost stuff. And... to compound that, it's not even Peter Venkman's baby. It's another man's baby.
Is it the cellist from...
I think so.
Okay.
The musician from the first one.
Weird to keep that, to keep him, but not the fact that she is a cellist. She's now an art historian. Restoration
specialist or something with two not similar career paths. So, yeah, very weird. She even makes a comment to Peter McNichol where she's like, well, it's been really fun working here, but I think I'm going to go back to the symphony. And it's like, I mean, okay.
Also, Peter McNichol out of the womb and into the Renfield bin.
4 minutes to go, and then party times.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else he can.
No, that's it. He is on Ally McBeal.
Yes, he is.
He's one of her bosses.
Okay, yeah.
He has a range.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not always a Renfield, but he is. You're right.
He is here.
He's in that vibe, that Renfield vibe. For sure.
This has a Dracula vibe in general.
Yeah.
Whatever that thing. I don't care for that painting.
No, and
I'm brave. I'll say it. It's terrible.
Vigo something. Yeah. Wilhelm von Humberg.
Didn't like it. Also didn't like the Scolari brothers.
Oh my God, the Scolari brothers!
No, that was bad too.
So let me rephrase. I liked it because it was weird.
Yeah.
It was something interesting and weird, but they were Muppets in a way that
Muppets.
The other ghosts aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like.
It's maybe not for me.
I think the ghosts and the weird stuff is what I like about this. I'm a little astonished that there's only been the 2 movies. It feels like there should be.
Well, there was the TV show.
So I remember weirdly with the TV show, my parents, when I was too young, we were in the old house. So I was less than 5.
Wow. Okay.
Like 4. I remember them showing me, I've told this story, the Thriller music video.
Right.
It left multiple marks on me. I couldn't watch anything scary for about 14 years. A deep-seated distrust of Michael Jackson. What would become lifelong psychosexual fascination with werewolves.
Yeah.
And many things happen, but and so I remember very specifically there being an episode of the animated Ghostbusters series with a were-chicken. A were-chicken, as silly as it sounds, and I hit the wall.
Ow! Hey! What?
And my grandmother was weirdly babysitting me at the time, and she could not figure out
what was
why. Because it was a chicken.
Yeah.
Like, just the notion that I think that a werewolf could be something other than, I don't know.
Oh, sure. Now we're in a post-True Blood, post-Were-Panther world.
So, yeah. I think, like, the ghosts and, like, the weird stuff is kind of my favorite. And I do like the big swing that is pink slime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, that's a real big...
Especially not for nothing in, like, a boys movie.
Yeah.
There is a ton of pink in this movie.
And it's a great menace.
Yeah.
I think Annie Potts especially is way better served in this. 40% of that is just
her makeover. But I love her little romance with Rick Moranis. So cute.
You like it better than Harold Ramis?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't actually do anything with her and Harold. It was just like a little bit of flirtation.
Well, there was an innuendo when he was under her desk, and then she like threw herself in his arms at the end.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, a good 5 years passed in the timeline of the movie and since making the movies, and there is a very, very soft reboot vibe to this. But I find it interesting. Maybe it was meant to be part of the humor, and it only partially landed for me. But I do like that this is a reality where ghosts are very real, but also these people need to be run out of town with pitchforks.
Sure.
Sent to Rikers for 18 months.
Whoa. That was weird. Like super weird. I was like, what they've done is like community service and a fine, not Rikers. That's a maximum security prison.
Well, because I was like, okay, fine, make them pay like even the $20,000 or whatever. I was like, whatever. But yeah, so much so that I was like, surely I've misunderstood something. This must be left over from the previous movie.
Oh, no.
Because they do acknowledge like the ramification, like they're properly out of business because of all the legal trouble they got into, which I find that funny that's something that we think of now, you know?
Sure.
And I think it's funny that that's been around, that kind of litigation has been around for.
Also, not for nothing, the judge is the leader of the Watchers Council from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so I already think he's a dick. I think Ernie Hudson got served better in this movie, too, because he was there the whole time. He still didn't have, like, enough to do, but it was something.
You're right. He is much, much cuter. Dan Aykroyd has already, at this point, started to. I do want to say, I get the Bill Murray. I don't fall for it.
Sure.
It doesn't do anything for me still, but I get it in a way that I wasn't getting it in the first one.
It still does it for me.
I really liked the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The dancing, singing, your love.
I liked that the slime was, what do they call it? Psychokinetic or something? Where
it responded to emotion.
It like responds to the emotions that you put out.
Well, because for a while they're mostly only talking about anger. Yeah. And they have that beat in the middle with the dancing toaster.
Yeah.
But there was something about like, I don't know. I just sort of liked the people cheering on like the Statue of Liberty, like coming through the coming through the streets. And I do think that in a general sense that the effects were slightly more solid. This time period between like this 50 years, man, technology.
True.
Like I said, Sigourney Weaver was underdeveloped,
which is especially alarming for a second entry. In that she should be underserved in this or underwritten in the second one when we already know things about her.
Mm-hmm. And especially when you consider, like we said, the Annie Potts comes out has I think
more
better. And I mean the baby was fine. That nanny that nanny goes.
Oh my God.
It's the weird stuff that I like the most. Like, so it's weird enough that there's a nanny with like a ghost pram. But then why did she have like Stretch Armstrong arms?
I don't know. So weird. Yeah.
Very unsettling. Very weird. So it's the stuff like that I think going into this new one, I'm gonna want. And I know I've seen the one trailer, but I haven't really paid attention to any of it. So I don't know what they've shown us and I don't know what we're going to get. But I have a desire for some like weird shit.
Weird shit. We might get some weird shit. I don't think we'll get zero weird shit. So, but I think it's also going to be a little bit more mass marketed shit. So we'll see.
Bear in mind that, you know, we watch these two back to back. So in a way, if anyone comes out of this, they're like, how dare he liked the second one better. It's like, this is more just like a second outing.
Yeah.
And it was like a
extension.
good, it was like one of the better episodes of like Buffy or Scooby-Doo or, you know, insert here.
Where it picks up from the other story.
I have a real desire for like a solid 5 of these. And I mean, if you include the 2016, that puts us at 4. Yeah. So
I mean, even if you don't, the new one is a direct continuation
of 2.
Yeah. So it's like that. It's the same universe, whereas the 2016 one is like a sort of a
mirror
reboot.
Universe. Yeah. Universe. So that's mostly what I have to say. I mean, do you have anything specific that you want to hit? I'm fine being kind of short with this one.
I liked it enough. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get heat regardless because I just like the Ghostbusters are just like not really it for me.
Maybe that's it. I mean, maybe this is personal preference because I am surprised at the ratings and the response to the first one being so high, and then the ratings and response to this one being so medium. Like this is like at a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm sort of like I don't really see the.
I don't see the big difference, the big shift in quality at all. No, not for me. So, but again, this is just like not really my bag. It never has been my whole life.
I do feel, though, considering how tepid I am on these two, I am very intrigued by the concept, the world, the franchise, what have you.
For sure.
So it's the kind of thing that if this new one is good and takes off, then I'll most likely be delighted to continue down this path.
I'll be there for sequels, for sure. McKenna Grace needs to keep working.
I mean, I think she's good.
Yeah.
I think she's good to go. So, yeah, okay. Well, that was our little review for Ghostbusters 2.
Yep. You can follow us on Twitter @soimwatching or Instagram @soimwatchingtheshow. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything. If you would like to see us do more stuff, and you want to help us along there, what?
I was like, you're hitting this this beat hard. The better quality. I'm like, ugh.
We need new cameras.
We do need new cameras.
So we have a Patreon, patreon.com/soimwatching. We have a Venmo, a Cashapp, and a coffee, and they are all @$soimwatching. So they all link out from our website. Yeah, let us know. Bye.